Welcome, folks. Welcome back to Widescreen. This is Tony.
This is Bill.
And today, we're going to... I can't do him. We're going to talk about Clint Eastwood. This is Clint. This is June and 2016, and Clint Eastwood turned 86 years old today, or this month.
86 young.
86 years young and squinty. He's 86, so we here at Widescreen, both of us, have dubbed the June is Clint Eastwood month. Every month, well, not all month, but every month for as long as Widescreen is here, we'll spotlight a Clint Eastwood something or another. But this time we're going to dedicate a podcast that will probably be a part 1 to the great, iconic, multifaceted, talented, uber famous Clint Eastwood. You like him?
He's okay.
We've never talked to him. Are you being goofy? Okay, yeah. Well, some people say, yeah, he's all right.
No, he's all right.
No, I like him a lot. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at my top 100 list, there's probably 10 that he's in, couple he directed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Top 100 films of all time. What's the first Clint movie you saw?
That I saw?
Yeah, or that you, to your memory,
That
to your like, hey, I like that guy. You know?
Firefox?
Firefox. Oh, that's right. I'm a little older than you. I'm like, Firefox. I was in frickin' junior high.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Firefox.
Older stuff, but, you asked me what my first one I remember
right.
seeing.
No, I understand. The first one I saw was the second Dirty Harry
Space
film.
Cowboys? No,
Space
that would just been bad.
I like that movie. I like Space Cowboys.
No, I just said if that was the first one I saw.
Oh, yeah, like, damn, you skipped a lot. The first one I saw was Magnum Force on TV, the second Dirty Harry film. On TV, mind you. Yeah. But I think I was 6. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. I didn't understand
most
anything.
of his westerns and went more to the Dirty Harry is probably what I remember my family watching mostly.
Don't blaspheme on this show.
So,
skipping westerns, that's vulgarity, and I won't stand for it.
Sorry, I don't like westerns.
I won't stand for that either. Yeah. Wait, is that true? You're being silly. You don't like westerns?
I don't care for them.
Well, we're going to change that.
Don't go out of my way to go watch them.
I go out of my way. As a matter of fact, podcast over, I'm going to go watch a western. No, but the first one that really got me when I was growing up, Monday through Friday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., our local CBS station had movies, and they would have themes. And, it'd be Godzilla week, it'd be this week, that week. I always look forward to Spaghetti Western week because my dad would come home early from the movie theater he worked at to watch them with me, and it would be like a film class. I'd be 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Now watch this shot. You see how the guy and the music. Listen to that cue, and I wonder why I love Ennio Morricone so much. But and I guess the Dollars trilogy, that's what really got me, because my mom had a poncho, and I would put on my gun belt, put on a poncho, her poncho, and my cowboy hat, and I would take a brown crayon, snap it in half, and put it in my mouth. Yeah, I'd roll a cigar.
You started smoking when you were that young. Yeah.
All right. Walk around, stop laughing at my mule. Yeah. But no, that was really the first. That's what grabbed me on old Clint, and frankly, the world. I guess we could quickly mention his TV fame and Rawhide, Rowdy Yates. It's actually a good western.
Yeah.
Sam Peckinpah directed an episode, but it's actually a good TV western. Mr. Western Hater. A lot of
hate westerns,
I know.
so they're just not my reference of movies.
A lot of TV westerns were cheesy back then, but it was it was as authentic as it could be. There's one where I've seen every episode almost. That and Gunsmoke and Bonanza. But there's an episode where he plays piano and sings, and at the time everybody's like, "Well, this is weird," less when nobody knew he was a jazz pianist and everything. Yeah. But it was a good show. But I guess he really took rocketed to fame worldwide with the Dollars trilogy.
Yeah. Well, he made a name for himself in the Rawhide. You know,
Yeah,
even though he started off as a secondary character, he ended up becoming pretty much the star at the end of it.
He was the heartthrob
So
on the ladies, yeah.
Before that, you know, he tried a couple of, I guess, small B-rated movies.
Yeah, he was in a
never
few.
Took off, and then
He was one of the pilots that dropped the bombs in Tarantula!
Yeah.
Exclamation point. That's what that movie. Exclamation point. Tarantula! He was in a couple of. Was he in Revenge of the Creature?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Revenge of the Creature.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a truck driver? I don't remember what he was.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, his worldwide fame really took off with Leone's trilogy. And you know what? They're not too shabby. And since, you know, this isn't an episode on the Dollars trilogy, so we'll briefly examine it. Eastwood, it's funny because one of Eastwood's, when people do impressions, it's the squint.
Mm-hmm.
It's the, you know, talking.
Right.
Not quite whispery, but gravelly.
Gimmicks that he does for, like, every film.
Yeah. But he's stated many times the reason he's like, the squint is because he's standing out in the hot sun in Spain in the desert. And he says, you have to squint. You can't wear sunglasses. You're in a Western. And he said, that's why I squinted all the time. And his gravelly, I mean, he whispered already. It's just the way he is. But his gravelly whisper was because it's really hot and dry out there. It wasn't an acting choice. It's just how it happened. Even though they redubbed all their dialogue later. But I think it's funny that, you know.
Well, he certainly ran with it. Because doesn't he, like, in every movie, like, change his expression to match whatever character he's in?
Well, yeah, but, I mean, he can't help his face, you know. He doesn't have an expressive face. But one thing I've always thought about Eastwood as an actor, and apparently a man.
He's a man?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That's what I heard. He, you know, he has that gruff exterior, that the stone face and the squint, but and he smiles in many movies. When he breaks into that smile, he's like looks like he's 11. You know what I mean? It's a very sweet and warm smile. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but old Clint, I love you, buddy. But no, the Dollars trilogy was fantastic, and he was fantastic in it. And very quickly, it's not my favorite film of all time, but I think I agree with Quentin Tarantino, who says The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is probably the best directed movie ever. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah.
But he was great, you know, that brought him. What's that?
Said got one of his catchphrases, didn't he?
From Good, Bad, and the Ugly?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was asking you.
No.
The fan.
No catchphrase. I mean, it's eminently quotable, but there's no catchphrase from that one. But however, he did one of the most, after the Dollars trilogy, he started an important friendship with director Don Siegel. Coogan's Bluff in '68. Did you ever see that? It's, you know, country boy cop has to bring a criminal to the big city, so on. And it's where the TV series McCloud. You remember that? Have you at least heard of it, young'un?
McCloud?
McCloud with Dennis Weaver
No.
as the country cop in the big city,
No.
riding a horse downtown. It's kind of where they got the idea for the TV series McCloud. But, you know, he's just... It's an okay movie. And I guess before that we should mention Hang 'em High, which is an okay movie. It was an American Western that tried to have the flavor of a...
Well, that's when he came back from Italy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they decided...
It's an okay movie. It's kind of better the more I watch it, but it's... Ted Post directed it, am I correct? Ted Post isn't exactly Don Siegel or Sergio Leone. Yeah, Ted Post. It's a good film. I think it's growing on me. I need to watch it more. Have you seen it?
Which one?
Hang 'em High.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
been a while,
The best thing in it's Pat Hingle. Hang him high. It's a terrible Pat Hingle impression, by the way. But no, Coogan's Bluff. It's okay. It's fine. It is what it is. And then he did Where Eagles Dare with Richard Burton. One of my favorite, because there were a dime a dozen back then. One of my favorite men on a World War II mission movies. The body count in that is ridiculous. Even Clint Eastwood, Mr. NRA, Mr. Dirty Harry, Mr. Shoot Everything. Even Clint Eastwood said at the time, he's like, man, there's a lot of, he said, and there's a scene where he and Richard Burton are just popping out. They're storming this castle, I think. It's been years. And they're just, it's like the entire Nazi army is there, and they're popping them off 2 by 2. And it's really violent, especially for that time. I love it. It's a fun movie. One of the rare times I enjoyed Burton, and whenever we do a show on overrated actors, he's my number one. I'm sure he has given at least 2 fantastic, like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and Equus. He was a great actor, but I think perhaps he might have been a better stage actor than a film actor. That and the fact that he was drunk all the time, so it hindered certain performances. But did you see Where Eagles Dare?
No.
No, it's a fun movie. It is. Anybody who likes Inglourious Bastards, watch Where Eagles Dare. You'll see a lot of ideas that Tarantino got from that movie. It's great. And it was a big hit. By the way, all these 3 mentioned, Hang 'em High, Coogan, and Eagles, big hits all. And I think Where Eagles Dare was the biggest. And then he did a movie called Paint Your Wagon. You ever see that?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, for all these people who speak ill about Russell Crowe and Les Miserables, I point you to Paint Your Wagon, and I want you to watch Lee Marvin run around and sing for 2.5 hours. And Eastwood, even though he's not as bad as it seems, he sings "I Talk to Trees If They Listen." I talk to trees. Yeah, that's right. No, it's a bad movie. It's one of those big it's 69. Those kinds of musicals were on their way out, Yeah. And it was one of those big everybody. It's a Western, but it's a musical goofy. It sucks. It has some good music in it, though. One of my favorite songs from Broadway, They Call the Wind Mariah. You know that song? It's a beautiful song. That's from Paint Your Wagon. But anyway, yeah, it was a big dud. Everybody's, Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood singing. That's awesome. You saw it, right? Then he kept his... Eastwood and Don Siegel were very dear friends. As a matter of fact, Unforgiven, at the end credits, before the end credits, it says, for Don and Sergio. Leone and Siegel, his 2 mentors and good friends. But then he did 2 Mules for Sister Sarah with Don Siegel. Music by Ennio Morricone. And again, it was, even though Don Siegel is a great... Was that?
So it seems you like this Morricone guy. You keep mentioning him.
He's all right. But even though Don Siegel was he was a fine director and he was his own guy, it was another, let's make it look and feel like a spaghetti western because Eastwood, but it's not. And have you seen it? 2 Mules for Sister Sarah? Yeah, he saves Shirley MacLaine. They have to go to a church and gold and shit. And I'm not a huge fan. It's kind of boring. It starts out okay. It has a really cool score. Morricone, because he's carrying 2 mules. And the music, he makes it sound like it goes, it's really cool. But no, the movie, I've tried it a few times. It's kind of boring. It goes nowhere. Once the story gets going, it stops. Yeah. But it was a big hit, and it cemented Eastwood's friendship with Siegel. Did you ever see Kelly's Heroes? Yeah, that's a great movie. I like that movie. The funny thing about that movie is remember Donald Sutherland in it. he's playing this whacked out hippie. It's set in World War II. There weren't any whacked out hippies, but it was made in 1970s. That was very. We should do a Donald Sutherland show. He doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough play. I like him. But do you like Kelly's Heroes? It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Don Rickles.
Yeah. One of those.
Telly Savalas.
Yeah, little comedy, sense of humor.
Weird cast. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's no great shakes,
Mm-hmm.
It's not Saving Private Ryan.
I think it was meant to be Saving Private Ryan.
It's kind of not even Where Eagles Dare, but it's a good film. We're getting close to where you discovered him in another decade. No, but then he did...
I know most of his 70s stuff, so...
Yeah. And of course, even though I'm old, I was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 when all this... I discovered all this much later. But The Beguiled, returning to John Siegel. One of the weirdest movies... You've seen it?
No.
Okay.
I've heard about it.
Yes, he's a Civil War soldier. He's in a house full of sexually repressed women. And it's a weird psychological thriller set during the Civil War era. Geraldine Page and I don't really
Monty Python.
I don't really know what to say about it.
It is all the spankings.
It's I remember that. It's a good film. It's weird. It's heady. It's strange. It's not a Western. It's set in the Civil War, but it's not a Western. And he's kind of a prisoner. It's kind of a Civil War era Misery, if you will. It's weird. I like it. I need to see it more. It's hard to find for some reason in a good, format. I need to see it more. It's good. I need to see it more. I can't speak on it too much. It's strange, but thumbs up. But it's strange. And then he started his career as a filmmaker with, if you'll forgive me, a movie that I don't like.
Really?
Yeah, that's what everybody says. I don't like Fatal Attraction either. And it has nothing to do with, the theme. I don't know. Play Misty for me, it just kind of lays there. Like I don't
know. As a psychological thriller, I thought it was pretty well done.
I could see it again. I don't know. My wife loves it. She owns it. We own it. I loved Jessica Walter as the Psycho. Yeah. Who's great on Archer, by the way. Do you watch Archer? Oh, it's so funny. You ever seen it at all?
I've seen previews
That's
for
so
it.
funny. She's the mother. She runs the spy place.
That they were thinking of doing a live action Archer.
Yeah, John Hamm, and I'll put a bullet in my brain.
I like John Hamm.
I love John Hamm, but there's something about John H. Benjamin, who voices Archer. He has that voice, and you can't really duplicate.
From the small clips I've seen, I could see John Hamm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I haven't watched them, so.
No, I mean, Play Misty for me. Like, if we had our show, I'm not sure I could say thumbs down. But it just, I don't know. I've never been a giant fan. Forgive me, I'm moving everything around here. I've never been a giant fan of it. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, and for a first, I don't know, with all the directors that he's worked with by that time, 71, and with all the knowledge behind him, I'm like, really, you're gonna start out with Play Misty for me? It is what it is. And by the way, that's most people's. I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it. What? Yeah, but it was a huge hit, and got good reviews, and his directing got good reviews. So he was out of the gate, and then all hell broke loose on American cinema. Dirty Harry. He went back with his old buddy Don Siegel. What do you think of Dirty Harry?
They're great.
Yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah. The first one is just
watch about any cop movie nowadays, and it's pretty much a nod to those. So
yeah, I mean, McQueen's Bullet notwithstanding, Dirty Harry was really the first fuck you to the establishment cop.
Yeah.
I love the first two. I like them all, but the first two to me are masterpieces, especially the first one. Dirty Harry is so good, and that's one we just spoke of before we started. Could have its own show, just the first one. It is so good, and Clint Eastwood really. I mean, he had already, with the. How many goddamn iconic characters has this guy played? You know what I mean? But he already had the Man with No Name, which trivia they call him Chris. Lee Van Cleef calls him Chris in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, so he technically is not the Man with No Name, but he's already known as the Man with No Name, and now Dirty Harry and it was a giant, mammoth hit, and it was called Elitist and like whatever, No, he is so good in that, man. So is Andy Robinson, the psycho. I'm gonna kill her anyway. And I always like when in the whole series when he gets in trouble. Callahan, get in my office. Callahan, what the hell are you doing? Callahan this, Callahan that. No, Dirty Harry to me is one of the best movies of the 70s, and I think it's one of the best cop movies ever. He is so good in that movie, and I know it's cliched now to talk about, but his, the big scene, where he does his, there's your first catchphrase. You feel lucky, you feel lucky, punk. But he's having a hot dog, and he walks out and he shoots the other two guys, and he shoots the one guy who doesn't die. And he's still chewing the hot dog. And it's just fantastic. And it's not like, how in most movies they're, today if he was a cop in there, call 911, and he runs out and boom, 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 boom. He's just like, you might want to dial, tell him there's a blah, blah, blah. And he just takes a last bite, strolls out, pulls out his cannon. And he doesn't cower or hide. He's just walking out there, boom. It's a great scene, and it's a little silly and against police procedure, but he nails it. And then
70s, they didn't have police procedure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, those were the days when Miranda was just a Spanish dancer. I think they're trying to bring it back. By the way,
you have the right to shut the fuck up.
Right. What is that from? Is that from Lethal Weapon? The right to remain silent, so shut the fuck up. That's probably from a few of them, yeah. But no, his performance as Dirty Harry as Harry Callahan is iconic, it's brilliant, and he's more than a lot of people think that's just a one-note character. It's not. He's more than that. I mean, he goes to see his partner, his previous partner, who was shot. In Magnum Force, he goes to see the ex-wife of one of his friends who's kind of gone nutty. He's a guy. He's a real guy. Has a little tryst with his Asian neighbor downstairs. And there's something about, much like again McQueen's Bullet, there's something about the San Francisco setting in the 70s that lends itself to kind of a cool cop flick, like New York does or Chicago. Anything else to say about Eastwood and Dirty Harry? Yeah, he's and instant iconic. I mean, the music. I mean, we're talking about Eastwood here, but we need to do a Dirty Harry series. And then I posted about this on the page in '72, the following year. He did Joe Kidd. One of the last few films by the great John Sturges, who did The Magnificent Seven and many other great movies. But Joe Kidd's a movie that's not talked about anymore. Have you seen it? It's a Western. I posted it on the page, so I won't waste a lot of time with it. But it's in a small town, and Robert Duvall, who's a shady landowner, hires him to go kill Louis Chama, as Duvall says. It's Louis Chama. But, and then the bad guy turns out to not be so bad. The good guy is not, that kind of thing. But it's really well done and really good. And it was a big hit, and it was well thought of, but for some reason, it's gotten buried over the years. Nobody really talks about Joe Kidd. It's one of those ones when it's on, like, TV, somebody will say, I remember that movie. I like Joe Kid. I'm going to watch that. But it's really, really good. And you've never seen it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, see it. All right. There's my recommendation. But he was, at this time, he was playing Dirty Harry in the Old West. You know, he's quiet, and he had his persona by now. He's tight. And he kept it going, but flipped it a little in his next film. Please tell me you've seen this. 1973, High Plains Drifter. Oi! Clint Eastwood directed it. He comes to a small town, starts running the town, having them paint it red, and being really... It's very different at the time. He rapes a woman just to do it, we think.
Just to do it.
He rapes a woman, he beats people, he's vicious. But there's a reason for it. And it's ambiguous whether he is a ghost or, the town doesn't know. But a few months earlier, they had beaten to death for no reason other than to do it. They're this town of crazy people. It's a very weird movie. Eastwood directed this one, too. It's his second. It's a town of nuts, and they killed this guy, whipped him to death, and buried him. And then Eastwood rides in, and everybody's, I thought we killed him. He looks just like him. Eastwood has said in later interviews, it's the guy's brother, come back for revenge. But it's the way they play it, it's almost like a ghost story. And it's a really good movie.
That's cool.
It's not Western-y. There's no, all right, boys, let's get the old, none of that. It's like
there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like Eastwood's character's name is The Stranger. It's a weird, ghostly, thrillery, set in an old west town. It's really, I think you'd like it. It's a damn good movie. I've only met one person that hasn't liked it, and that's my father. And I don't understand why. Very quickly, his next directorial effort was Breezy, May-December Romance with William Holden and what's her name? I can't think of it as we speak. The girl, Kay Lenz. I just looked it up, folks. I was stalling. I like Kay Lenz. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. But it is what it is. It's a May-December Romance and a very weird choice for Eastwood to direct. And nobody saw it. And then, Magnum Force in 73, the second Dirty Harry film. And Dirty Harry is the better film. Magnum Force is my favorite one of the series. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
There's something about it. The cops in leather, motorcycle cops, vigilante motorcycle cops in leather with their dark sunglasses. Eastwood is a little more human in this film, too. This is the one where he has a little affair with the neighbor and goes to check on his, friend who's, and his wife, the friend's wife, even comes on to him and he turns her down. And yeah, you see a more human side of Harry Callahan in this. It's a damn good movie. Co-written by the great John Milius and Michael Cimino. Jesus Christ, it's so good. A little trivia. 2 future TV cops are part of the vigilante motorcycle. David Soul, Hutch, and Robert Urich from Vegas. I guess he wasn't a cop; he was a private. But yeah, they're part of it. It's a great film. Hal Holbrook is a evil police lieutenant. Spends the whole movie on Callahan. I love it. Then speaking of Michael Cimino directed his first film before The Deer Hunter, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. No, you haven't seen that? One of the great heist films, I guess. Eastwood and Jeff Bridges, who was nominated for an Oscar. Get up with George Kennedy, Psycho George Kennedy, and Jeffrey Lewis, to rob a bank in a small town. And they have to build this big gun, and it's really cool, but it's more of a character study. I mean, the heist is there, and it's part of it, but it's really a friendship between Bridges and what's his name? Clint Eastwood. But it's very well written and very well acted, and again, Bridges was nominated, but it's more of a character study. I think it was a pretty big hit. I think at that time, starring Clint Eastwood assured you big box office, good or bad, and that's coming up. An example of that is coming up. But no, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. I've always loved it, and I remember when I was little, I used to imitate Eastwood because there's a scene where they're in a small town, and he and Bridges get a 6-pack of canned beer, and the way Eastwood's walking and holding the beer, and then takes one and pops it open. I used to do that with canned soda. And I'd play in the living room, and I don't know why. I just walk through the living room and pop one open. But, no, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, you need to see that. It's a really, really good movie. Then he did the Iger Sanction, which we spoke of on the page. It's based on a book, and the author of the book said that Eastwood was the wrong person to do it, but he'd give it a chance. And he famously walked out of the screening and said it's a travesty and blah, blah, blah. He's right, but it's badly written. It's offensive. There's a portrayal of a homosexual guy in there, and he has a little dog, and his dog's name is Faggot, and he has to keep saying, my dog's name is Faggot. Yeah, and he plays it just like that. Hi. And it's awful. And there's some really bad stereotypes and really dumb dialogue. And then the last half hour, they go to the Eiger. It's a big mountain, and Eastwood did all his own stunts, and they're up there, and it is the all-time greatest, most thrilling mountain climbing scenes ever put to film. It's amazing. The movie is dumb. It doesn't make sense. Eastwood plays an art dealer / college professor / former assassin. He's miscast. He's fine, but yeah, it's as I said on the page, it's an interesting, is it a good movie? No. Do I think you should see it? Hell yeah. Do I think you'll like it? No. But is it likable? Yes. And I don't know what to say. It's the one movie in his career that is just a head scratcher to me. But and now we come, and very briefly, because for me this could be a show in itself. Please tell me you've seen The Outlaw Josie Wales. Okay. My favorite Clint Eastwood Western. Non-spaghetti Western. I think it's brilliant. Did you like it?
Oh, what I remember of it.
I thought he was great. It's just perfectly directed. He directed it, perfectly cast. The feel of it is perfect. The Oscar-nominated score from Jerry Fielding is great. Sam Peckinpah's composer of choice. It's just so well cast. I mean, even the smallest characters, it's just so well cast. And it's the first movie to start the Eastwood troupe, if you will. From then on, when you saw Eastwood movies, that's the guy who played that guy in Josie Wales. Oh, that was the guy. Oh, that was the lady. Oh, that guy. And luckily, he hadn't met Sandra Locke yet, because I hate her. But no.
Her earlier.
What's that?
So I thought you met Sandra Locke earlier.
No, he meets her in the, I think another year. Yep. But no, I won't spend. Like I said, it could be a whole show. The Outlaw Josie Wales is my 5th favorite Western of all time. It's in my top 25 films of all time. He's great in it. It's a great film. And he plays it more serious. He's more than just a stoic, anti-hero. And it's just very, very good. His wife and son were killed, and he goes after him, blah, blah, blah. It's a great film. It's a masterpiece. He actually was a producer, and Philip Kaufman, who did The Right Stuff and The Unbearable Lightness of Being, was the director, and he got fired by Eastwood because they were having creative differences, and then Eastwood took the reins. And I'm glad he did, I guess. I mean, I love Philip Kaufman, and I don't know what kind of a movie he would have made out of it, but as is, it's one of my all-time faves of the genre and of celluloid imagery, if you will. Yeah. Any words on Josie?
Nope.
Moving on. The Enforcer, the third Dirty Harry film, where it starts to stretch it a little bit for me. How about you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Partnered him with the great Tyne Daly.
definitely no sudden impact, but it was starting to stretch.
Yeah. Well, trust me, we're getting to Deadpool soon. We'll talk. We'll talk. No, it was starting to stretch it. This is where he slowly kind of became a Charles Bronson-y, even before he was known Chuck Norris-y. He couldn't miss, and what is it, the mayor of San Francisco gets kidnapped by radicals, and they hold him at Alcatraz. Which, by the way, The Rock. Hello, I already did that. It is what it is. It's fine. I enjoy it, but it really strains credibility.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes in there, she shoots a couple, and he shoots everybody in Alcatraz. They get him. No, it's fine. It's fine. It has its place, and it's fine. Would you not agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Enforcer. I get it. It was fine. I mean, it is what it is. It has its place. Here's what I can say about it, and we'll get to this in a little bit. It's better than the Deadpool. The Gauntlet. What do you think of that film?
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
The Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It was huge. The bus, the shooting, the Sandra Luck. It's okay. I don't love it. It is what it is. It's fine. Clint. That's where he met Sandra Luck. God damn it. Clint has to take her. She's a mob witness, and of course there's mobsters after her. They run into a motorcycle gang. Nobody can get Clint, And there's it's the cool at the end, though, because he has to drive through that gauntlet of the police shooting at the bus, and it's all right. It was a huge hit. They sold it on the image of the bus, with all the bullet holes and him driving through it. It's fine, I'm not a Clint Eastwood completist, because I'm sure there's a couple of pieces of shit that he did. But I'd own it. I wouldn't pop it on a lot. I might own it. I have so many Clint Eastwood movies on DVD. It's all right. It's fine. You didn't see it? I'm not going to browbeat you for it. You'll see it someday. You might not. You're just fine. And I have the same thing to say about the next film. Every Which Way But Loose. Oh, Christ. And by the way, Eastwood directed The Gauntlet.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the two ape movies?
The two ape movies are humorous.
They're good old man. They're fine.
They're fun.
Yeah. He showed a lighter side. That was no, they're not. They're not Unforgiven.
But being a youngin when I saw them, they weren't bad movies. It was look a monkey.
Yeah. Right turn, Clyde. I love it. Right turn, Clyde. No, they're fine. Ruth Gordon's fine. It's fine. I have the soundtracks because it's good country music from the 70s. They're fine. Can we move on?
If you'd like to, yes.
No, I mean, do you want to?
No, I mean, like I said, they're fun. I think they're probably more along the lines for the younger crowd.
Yeah,
at the time they came out. So
no, I agree.
Sometimes you got to do those.
No, you do, and it was nice. I mean, look at all the movies we mentioned.
Got movies where you're shooting people all the time, so every once in a while you got to step back and do something that's...
Yeah, and he showed a light touch, and he was humorous. Yeah, and they are, and you're right, and that's fine, and they do have their place, and Any Which Way You Can is the second one, and they're fun. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm no snob, I laugh at them. It's good old boy. It's open a 6-pack of Schlitz and watch Clint Eastwood and the Monkey.
Right.
For an hour and a half.
Exactly.
That's it. And you know what? You're right. They do their job. They do their job, and they're fine. And I don't hate them. It's just like I'm looking at everything we just talked about, and I'm like, fuck, we just got here.
Dirty Harry. You're looking at all these. Yeah.
And Right Turn, Clyde. Yeah. Okay.
Be like talking, you're doing Nightmare on Elm Street, and all of a sudden you decide to talk about,
Sleepaway Camp. Up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right. There you are. That's better. No, they're fine. Enjoy them, folks. I'll say it one more time. Right Turn, Clyde. By the way, another iconic phrase. I mean, people don't go around. A lot of people say it. Right Turn, Clyde. Remember the monkey? Yeah. Then he did, again for Don Siegel, For the Last Time, I believe. Don Siegel was getting on in years.
Mm-hmm.
Escape from Alcatraz.
Damn good film.
Yeah, it's fine.
I like it.
It's a good movie. No, it's a good movie. I think that started to come out wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not yeah, I think it might rain. I'm not sure. I wouldn't go damn good film,
I
but
thought it was a damn
good film. Yeah. My dad played it, by the way, at the theater.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And early appearance by Danny Glover, who was in a cell and who was dubbed. It's weird because he opens his mouth and the guy sounds like this. That's not Danny Glover. No, it's fine, and I think Patrick McGoohan is pretty good as the sadistic warden, and the cliched sadistic warden. No, it's a fine movie. I was actually about a week ago. I was flipping around and it was on, and I watched about 30 minutes of it. The scene where he's talking to Paul Benjamin, the head black guy, and he's like, "You dare come up on my step?" It's a pretty good Paul Benjamin, by the way, and I won't say the line, but he's taunting him and proving that, yeah, I'm not afraid of you. I don't care about your color. We're just men. This is a good scene, yeah. I own it, by the way. I own it. I didn't mean to. My reaction might have thrown you off a little there. But,
okay.
Yeah, right. Screw Escape from Alcatraz. Now comes, and I posted. What's that?
I like those escape type movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's based
I have
on,
a problem with prison films.
Real events.
It is based on real events, yeah. And they were never found, and they don't try to... Nowadays, they would try to explain it. There'd be some epilogue with him on a farm with a family.
They would have the end or whatever.
Yeah. There's no explanation. It just says they were never found. Yeah.
Which was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Never found the bodies.
I like that.
They think they died, but they don't know.
I like how he makes the... It's funny because he makes the little paper mache head with the fake hair. And when the screw, as they called it, the guards, the screws are coming. When the guard rolls it over, he sees that it's fake. But it looks just like Eastwood's hairline and forehead. I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, I spoke about this next one on the podcast, on the page, Facebook page, group. What is it called? I love Bronco Billy. Unashamedly, is that a word? I love Bronco Billy. Please tell me you've seen it.
No.
Doy. Well, it's on the page, so I won't spend a lot of time on it. Eastwood, who directed it, wanted to do, a Frank Capra-esque film. And he did it, man. It's a modern, and it's not a western. It's set in 1980. He's Bronco Billy, and he runs Bronco Billy's Wild West show, trying to keep that alive and touring the country. And they're not making any money, and attendance is low because nobody gives a shit. And he's trying to, and it's very lighthearted, and I love it. And at the time, Eastwood said it was the one he was most proud of because it's family friendly. It's so good. What's wrong?
Just saying that about Bronco Billy.
About an Eastwood. No, it is. It's family friendly.
Or am I thinking? Yeah, isn't that supposed to be based on the Buffalo Bill?
Well, no, he's trying to keep that tradition alive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's and he's always speaking to the little cowgirls and little cowboys. No, it's great, and it's. Pardon me, folks.
Okay, Lexi.
We have Alexa, and she just turned on, and I about wet myself. I don't know how she turned on. Alexa, stop.
Must be the stranger.
Yeah, right. Is it his brother? But, no, I love Bronco Billy. Just read my thoughts on the page. I wrote it on the page. For time, I won't speak about it. But it's just one of those movies that just picks you up. I spoke about this before. Carries you along. Drops you off 2 hours later. It's so good. Its only deficit is Sandra Locke trying to be this. She plays a rich bitch who falls in with him. And I hate you're. What kind of person are you, you stupid cowboy man? And she's really bad. And of course, she learns to love him and becomes a part of the show, and so on and so on. Who cares? It really is a family-friendly movie. It's really good, and I love it. a lot of people said, "Oh, come on, Clint, you're being a little cheesy here." Well, it was on purpose, and I love it. Read about it on the page, folks. Oh, hey, here we go. Firefox. Bill, would you like to speak on Firefox?
Yeah, it was a good, kind of fun movie. It was around that same period of time where you had, like, Blue Thunder and all those type of
It begat Blue
movies.
Thunder, actually, yeah.
But, nice little spy espionage style film. It was different than his other movies
than anything
had been doing. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Planes, so just to see that cool.
The Firefox.
Yeah, the Firefox.
Even though it takes all frickin' movie for that thing to take flight. Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid, I'm like, this is boring. As I got older, I liked it. It's not a great film.
Oh, it's not great.
But it's fun. It's nice to see him doing the international intrigue thing with the fake mustache and the hat and the glasses. And the special effects are dated, but you just got to remember when you watch it
when it was made.
when it was made. No, it's fine. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it. And he's in that. He directed it. He's probably miscast. But I'm wondering, and I'm wondering if at that time a project like that, or a movie like, maybe not The Gauntlet, but if to direct it, to get the money for it, if you're in it, we'll give you all the money. Because he was something we failed to mention since he first started directing. Warner Brothers, is the house that Clint built in the 70s, and because all the studios were failing, and he's to this day, where his movies are Warner Brothers, and they have the best relationship between director, actor, and studio of all time. And I just wonder on a project like that, you look and think, well, maybe he wanted somebody else, younger or something, and more jet pilot-y. And they said, nope, you can't make this unless you're in it. Because we know you'll put the butts in seats.
Unless he wanted to be, Bond.
Unless, maybe. Who knows? Maybe he wanted to try something else. I don't know. I need a Bond film.
That was his chance. Yeah, he wrote it.
Bring me something Bondy. Here, Clint, it's got a plane in it. You get to wear a cool black jet pilot suit at the end.
That's right.
No, I like Firefox over the years. When I was a kid and even a teenager, I'm like, because I always revisit Clint Eastwood movies, the ones I haven't seen over and over again. And even as a teenager, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of dull. It's kind of boring. But no, it's a good movie. It's good because when you initially go in, you're like, all right, Clint Eastwood, and he's over there, and he's got to get the plane. There's going to be a lot of fights. No, there's not. It's an international espionage thriller, with a plane chase at the end. No, it's fine. It's good. It's a good, for your age back then, it was a good start. Good start to Eastwood for you. Good start. My next one, I'm actually going to post on the group about this soon. Honky Tonk Man. Have you seen that? Please say you've seen that.
I've seen that.
Thank you. I think it is one of his most underrated films. It did not do well. Old Clint hung up the guns and played a dying country singer. And his son Kyle, who does part of the music to all his movies now with Clint himself, and is a jazz musician in his own right, Kyle. They travel together.
Why'd you go South Park there?
I don't know, because I want to say Kyle. Right. Because who mentions Clint Eastwood and South Park in the same sentence? I don't know. But no, it's you have seen it. You said, yeah. He plays his nephew, right? It's been a long time.
Yeah. And
he takes him with him, trying to be a big country singer, and they pick up an annoying girl hitchhiker on the way. Holy crap! Rest in peace. That actress died soon after. But it's a nice little. He doesn't stop at a bar and get into a fist fight kind of bullshit because he's Clint Eastwood and we need to put it in the movie. And he directed this one, we should say. No, it's good. He plays Red Stovall, and he's trying to cut a record, and he wrote a song called Honky Tonk Man, which was written by Marty Robbins for the film, the great Marty Robbins, who died right after they made the film, and he plays the musician who sings it at the end when Eastwood starts coughing and can't continue, and died right after. That film is cursed. Mm-hmm. The girl, the guy, Marty Robbins. But I think it's a. Did you like it? A lot of people don't.
I don't remember caring for it.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's slow, it's boring. I don't want to see Clint as a struggling, dying country singer. Well, guys, it's set in the 30s and it's slow moving, and I call it deliberately paced. There's a difference, I really like it. I think it's endearing. And I think Clint's endearing in the film. They twist the cliche. The young, cute, hot-esque hitchhiker comes onto him, and he turns her down. And, why don't you try the boy, And he's he doesn't say that. But and he has a good, good. And I'm not partial to road movies. Mm-hmm. I think they're annoying. And it's good. I think it works. It's not a classic, but it's a film that I'm very, very fond of, and I can watch a lot. And it has a good, authentic country soundtrack, and the song Honky Tonk Man is amazing. But yeah, no, I liked it. And critics were mixed, and audiences and you basically said thumbs down. Excuse me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Honky Tonk Man. Again, I wasn't calling Oscars, but it's a good little film. And we'll talk about a couple more before we end part 1 here. Oh, yay. We're coming to them now. But first, Sudden Impact. The fourth Dirty Harry film. At the time, the least Dirty Harry film.
Yeah. At the time.
Sandra Locke is back. Luckily, it's not too long till they broke up. So, I believe it's her last appearance in an Eastwood film. Thank you, movie gods. Yeah, I like it. You like it? It's fine. It begat the yeah, it's. I was gonna say it's barely. Mm-hmm. It begat the famous "Go ahead, make my day" line.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about that scene. It's a great scene and completely stupid. He's drinking coffee, and there's the three, even in 1983, brutally stereotyped black criminals. Mm-hmm. Because he says he's a cop, and the one guy says, I hate to even say it, "What'd you say, you pighead sucker?" Like, what is this, 1969? What?
Pighead sucker.
Pighead sucker. But anyway, did I still call them pigs? I don't know. But Eastwood's they're all holding guns at him, and the one guy's holding the gun on the lady, and Eastwood's got a cup of coffee, and he's like, "Well, we're not going to let you walk out of here." Oh, that's what he says. "Who, you pighead sucker?" And he's like, "Me." And he's slowly reaching into his breast pocket, or the breast of his coat. "Me, Smith, and Wesson." And they're like, "Huh?" And he pulls out the Magnum, and boom, boom, boom. And then the last guy, of course, "Go ahead, make my day." Mm-hmm. That one line, "Go ahead, make my day," was written by John Milius. Mm-hmm. Just that line. Yeah, it's a dumb scene, but it's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's the saying has lasted. I remember the saying, and then going back and watching it, I thought I remembered it being a much, bigger scene.
Yeah.
More kind of involved. And,
not at all.
For the line to go as long as it has.
Exactly.
And yeah, it wasn't.
Nope.
It's kind of like, I expected a little bit more from that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I said at the end, and when the end credits were rolling. I expected a little bit more from that one. I mean, it's an okay movie, Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I hate it when we say, it's fine. Yeah. But it is. I mean, I can't say thumbs down. Mm-hmm. It's good enough to enjoy. I own the box set, so I own it by proxy, but, it's dumb. Pighead sucker. I want to make a movie and put that line in there. Oh, would you say, you pighead sucker? I'm going to make an old Jewish man say it.
It was the 80s. They had stereotypical freaking portrayals of gang members during that period of time. They were always...
You mean black and Latino?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah. And they always dressed like nobody dressed.
Sure enough. You know,
I love that, by the way.
I do too.
Last Dragon. Bruce Leroy! Oh, come on! The Last Dragon. Widescreen. Bill and I in widescreen, we recommend The Last Dragon.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a lost treasure right there.
Good segue. Not The Last Dragon, but the words Lost Treasure. Speaking of Lost Treasure, and I believe I had this on one of our Lost Treasures. Tightrope.
Mm-hmm.
I just spoke. You like it?
Yeah, I remember liking it.
I just yesterday put it up on the page, so I won't dilly-dally, but at the time, and this is a phrase I hate using, because they usually use it about women over 40 who do a nude scene. It was a very brave choice but at the time, 1984, listen to the movies we spoke about previously. It was a very, very brave and risky role for Eastwood to take on. And he didn't direct it. He just acted in it, so it was, they wanted him. It wasn't just put him in there to make money. And it didn't make a lot of money because everybody expected Dirty Harry. He's a cop on the trail of a guy who rapes and murders people in New Orleans and Louisiana, and he strangles them, and he has to go through the seedy parts of the French Quarter in New Orleans and to investigate, and we learn that he has a sadomasochistic. He likes to tie women up, and he's got a twisted psychosexual. He likes to dominate women, and then he meets Geneviève Bujold, who is a feminist. She helps him on the case. They become friends. She's helping him learn to trust powerful women because she's a powerful woman, and he is also allowing her to bring out her openly sexual side and be more adventurous, and which scares her at the same time. And they're learning to trust each other. Listen to what I just said. I'm explaining a Clint Eastwood cop thriller. That's what is so great about this movie. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's very, very good. No, Tightrope's very good. It's highly underrated. It didn't do well because everybody wanted to shoot him up. Takes his gun out once and gets it knocked out of his hand. I love it. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I recommend. I guess you like it too. So we recommend everybody see Tightrope. We have time to talk about 2 more, and then we'll end part 1.
Okay.
One very briefly, City Heat. I posted about this on the page as well. He plays Lieutenant Spear. It was the mammoth teaming of 2 giants of the 2 number 1 box office draws for most of the 70s and early 80s. And it was the first and last, by the way, time that these 2 mammoths have been together on screen. Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds. And I remember when I first read about it, and remember those days you'd have to read about it in a film magazine?
What?
Projects in production, They're like, holy shit. Blake Edwards, the great Blake Edwards, was directing and co-wrote, set in the Prohibition, and Eastwood is a cop, and Reynolds is a private eye, and they used to be friends, and they're at odds, and it's going to be like a darkly humorous, thriller action flick. Eastwood and Blake Edwards didn't get along. Eastwood and Reynolds did, and they teamed up against Blake Edwards. Julie Andrews was supposed to play a part. She left the project. Eastwood said he was going to take over directing if Edwards didn't change his shit. And it was at Warner Brothers, so Eastwood was king. He called all the shots. There were no producers telling Eastwood what to do. That's something we need to make sure we mention. That's, these days, and in those days, every day, it if the studio didn't like what an actor or director was doing, well, we're going to take this away from you in the editing and put it the way we want it, or we want you to do it this way. Nobody told Clint what to do or how to do it. And it was pretty amazing. And he still has that to this day. Since 1971, when he directed Play Misty for Me, he has had full creative control on his films. We are now in 2016. How does he do it? He's Clint. That's my only explanation. So Blake Edwards walked, and he even took a pseudonym on the screenplay. Called himself Sam O'Brown. And Eastwood didn't want to direct that one, and so they brought in Richard Benjamin, a not funny actor and a not good director in my opinion. I never liked him. And City Heat, again, I posted on the page so you can read about it. It's a huge mess of a film. Have you seen it? A lot got lost in the editing because the studio did take it away from Benjamin and try to salvage stuff that Edwards had shot versus stuff. And the tonal shifts in the movie are ridiculous. It's broad comedy, it's serious thriller, it's drama, and rarely any of it works. And there's even a really stupid scene where, because they're friends, rivals kind of thing, and they're in a shootout, and Reynolds and Eastwood are shooting, and Reynolds pulls out a bigger gun, and Eastwood pulls out a bigger gun, and Reynolds pulls out a bigger gun, and Eastwood pulls out this comically long, I'm like, what? That's a dumb scene in the middle of this thing. It's that kind of thing. But I like it, and this is a backhanded thumbs up here, because it's really thumbs down. It's a mess of a film. Eastwood and Reynolds are eminently watchable. Example of that. That's why I give a positive review to the first Cannonball Run. That's an atrocious movie. It's garbage. It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. Yeah, exactly. It is fun. But come on, as a movie, that's dumb. But anyway, the same thing here, only not as dumb. City Heat. It's a mess, and you can see the mess. It's one of those ones where, people you talk about Waterworld. You hear about all the problems. Well, I don't see them. I like Waterworld. You can see the problems here. You can see the tonal shifts. Characters come and go. Relationships switch. I think they switched it, fixed the screenplay when the next director came on, and it doesn't make any sense. And they end up talking to people that, how do they even know this person, But I enjoy it. I own it. I bought it for $5. I would not pay more than that. It's not a good film. It's a film I enjoy. It was a hit, but not a huge hit because the buzz was so bad about it. And they didn't do a lot of press. And Eastwood was said to be brutally stressed out on that one. And we'll end with the next to last Western he directed, Pale Rider. What do you think of that? It was his... You didn't see it?
No.
It was his first real Western he'd done since '76, since Josie Wales. Huge hit. Eastwood returns to the Western. Huge hit. They released it in the summer. I thought it was going to flop. I'm like, nobody gives a shit about it. It came up against Silverado, a movie I love and I've spoken about many times. Silverado was a big flop, and that had the big cast and Lawrence Kasdan. Big flop. Pale Rider was a huge hit. Eastwood back in the saddle, literally. Directed it. Not a bunch of stars in it. Christopher Penn, before we know who the hell he was. He's an avenging angel. It's Shane, basically. He's an avenging angel. The corrupt town trying to... there's gold in their hills, and all the nice villagers who are finding the gold. The corrupt town is trying to kill them all off and get the gold for themselves. It's almost comical. Little girl sees a killing, so goes to the river and, dear God, please send us an avenging angel. And as she's praying, we cut to shots of old Clint riding in, and he's got a preacher's, what do they call the collar? They call it something. The preacher collar. He's dressed as a preacher. Yeah, the collar. Thank you. He's dressed as a preacher, and so he gets You know, a lot of people, but he's not a preacher. Spoiler alert, he's not a real preacher. And he comes in and kicks ass and leaves again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Pale Rider. A lot of people say it's his best Western. What the fuck? I don't know. Hello, did you see Josie Wales in Unforgiven? And it was a huge hit. Critics just bowed at its altar.
Mm-hmm.
It made Ebert and Siskel's 10 best list, I remember. I think it is. You haven't seen it. I wish you had. It's so slow and so boring and dumb. Mm-hmm. I just told you, please send me in. Here comes old Clint. There's a scene where the henchmen are surrounding him, mm-hmm. the trained killers with guns on their hips, and he comes out with an axe handle, beats them all. There's like 7 of them. Come on, you know. It's just dumb, and it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it's really slow. I mean, deadly slow. Mm-hmm. I just spoke earlier about deliberately paced versus slow. It is slow, and I don't like it. I give it 2.5 stars. You know, it's not a bad movie. I still like it, man. Don't worry about. There's one Western I won't like put a gun to your head to see. And I've tried it over the years. Like I get in my Western moods where for a few weeks I watch nothing but. And every time I do, all right, Pale Rider, let's go. And I fast forward through some of it. I turn it off, and you know, I don't like it. And I am, as an Eastwood fan, as a Western fan, I am in the extreme minority on that movie. So, yeah. Well, anyway, and Pale Rider's a good place to stop. And I'm glad it wasn't his last Western. So part 1 of our Clint is done, and when we get to part 2, we get into some interesting stuff, and then of course, somewhere around the mid to late 90s, he becomes, I mean, he starts directing everything, and then in the 2000s, he stops acting and just directs, and we got some problems there, but can't wait till we get to American Sniper. But no, like we said, he has had this amazing run of hits. Like Burt Reynolds is huge, but he's had a ton of flops. And same with Steve McQueen, you know. But I think the only flop we saw was Tightrope, because everybody wanted something. Probably had a nice opening weekend, and then everybody's like, "Oh, don't go! It's not. He's not shooting people." He's, you know, it's all in his head. We don't want that. We don't want Clint thinking. But his relationship with Warner Brothers is like I said, it's amazing. You know, no one has. Woody Allen, Martin Scorsese, they don't have the full control that he has, and it's fantastic. And I'm sure it's because, look, we're gonna start telling Clint what to do. Hey, here's the numbers for the last 20 years on Clint movies. Oh, let him do whatever he wants. Good job, Clint. Keep it up. And I'm sure that's it. Yeah. But it's unprecedented to this day. And we'll talk more about that in part 2. 2. I get for Clint when we have to stop talking Clint. Do you any last words on Clint for part 1?
No.
All right. Anyway. All right, well, that's part 1. Next week, we will give you part 2 of Clint. Watch the page. I'll have this up pretty quick. So watch the page. We'll discuss. And I'll be posting. It's Clint month, so we'll be posting lots of Clint Eastwood stuff. So we hope you enjoyed part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm Tony.
I'm Bill. See you.